The last human outpost flickered under the dying stars, surrounded by an alien fleet that had crushed every other world. Hope was a whisper, but humanity had one last secret, and it was about to change everything. The galaxy is an unforgiving place. Humanity, a relatively young species in the vast cosmic arena, had always sought to stay under the radar. In the face of ancient empires and unfathomable alien technology, humans were small, fragile, and outmatched. They had always known this, so Earth's coalition of worlds focused on diplomacy, exploration, and trade, avoiding conflict wherever possible. But no amount of caution could save them when the Tkar Dominion came. The Tkar were unlike any other alien race humanity had encountered. Their thirst for conquest was insatiable, their technology devastating. They did not want resources, wealth, or alliances. They wanted only one thing: complete subjugation. And now, the last human stronghold, the outpost Horizon, sat on the edge of a dying star, its inhabitants mere flickers of hope surrounded by the darkness of the Tar fleet. Captain Mira Salas stood on the command deck, watching as the holographic display flickered with hundreds of red dots, each representing an approaching Tar warship. She was a veteran of the war, her once bright eyes now dull with the weight of loss. Her uniform, though well-kept, bore the scars of countless battles. She had fought on every front, from the colonies on Mars to the shattered remains of Luna's orbital defenses. "This is it," she muttered to herself, her voice barely a whisper. She had known deep down that it would come to this. Horizon was humanity's last bastion, and the Tar would stop at nothing to crush it. Lieutenant Voss, her second-in-command, approached from the rear of the command center, his face pale. "Captain," he said, voice tight with nerves, "the Tkar fleet is in range. They'll begin firing in less than 10 minutes. Mira turned to face him, her expression hard. "We've done all we can. Send out the final evacuation order. Everyone who can leave needs to get off-world now." "But, Captain, there's no place left to go. Earth is gone. Mars, all of it." Voss hesitated, his words hanging heavy in the air. "They've taken everything." Mira knew it. The colonies had fallen one by one. Earth had been the last to fall, reduced to a barren, smoldering wasteland by the Taurus orbital bombardments. Every other human world had either been enslaved or destroyed. Horizon was all that remained, a flickering light on the edge of darkness. "Send the order anyway," Mira replied. "Let them try. Better to die fighting for freedom than wait to be slaughtered." She stepped forward to the central display, gazing at the sheer size of the enemy fleet. Hundreds of warships, their sleek, black hulls glinting ominously in the fading light of the star. The Tar had perfected the art of war. They were efficient, brutal, and relentless. There was no negotiating with them, no reasoning. They had swept across the galaxy, devouring all in their path. And now they had come for Horizon. Voss hesitated, a tremor in his voice as he spoke again. "What about the contingency plan?" Myra's eyes narrowed. The contingency. She had been briefed on it only once, a classified meeting back on Earth before everything had fallen apart. It was humanity's last, desperate measure. A secret so dangerous that it had never been used, not even in the darkest moments of the war. "Activate it," Mira said softly. Voss's face paled. "Are you sure? We don't even know if it will work. And if it does, it's our only chance," Mira interrupted. "Send the signal. Now." Voss nodded, his hands shaking as he entered the command sequence. "Sending now," he said, his voice trembling. The signal was simple, a short burst of encrypted data sent out into the void. It wasn't directed at any of the surviving human ships or colonies. No, this signal was aimed far deeper, directed at something ancient, something buried deep beneath Horizon itself. It was a signal that had been coded and safeguarded for centuries, passed down through generations of humanity's leaders, a secret so powerful that it had never been fully understood. Far beneath the surface of Horizon, in the planet's molten core, ancient machinery stirred to life. This technology had not been built by humanity, nor by any known species. It was far older, a relic from a time when the universe was young, a time when species far greater than humanity had ruled the stars. Myra's heart pounded in her chest as she watched the display. The Tar fleet was closing in fast, their weapon systems charging. The first barrage would hit within minutes. "Captain!" Voss shouted, panic in his voice. "The Tar are charging their weapons. Shields won't hold against that kind of firepower." "Hold steady," Mira commanded. "We just need a little more time." The first salvo from the Tar fleet hit Horizon's outer defense grid with the force of a supernova. Plasma bolts as large as cities streaked through space, impacting the shields of the station with such power that the very air around them seemed to hum with energy. Horizon's shields, state-of-the-art and powered by the last remnants of Earth's technological advances, buckled under the onslaught. "Shields down to 60%. Voss shouted over the chaos, alarms blaring throughout the station. "Another hit like that, and we're finished." Myra's mind raced. They couldn't hold out much longer. The Tar were overwhelming in every possible way, superior in numbers, in firepower, in technology. But that wasn't what scared her. It was their relentlessness. They wouldn't stop until every last human was either enslaved or dead. The station shuddered as another volley hit, this time breaching part of the outer hull. Explosions rocked the lower levels, and the lights flickered briefly before the backup systems kicked in. "Come on," Mira whispered to herself, her eyes fixed on the display. "Come on." Far below the surface, the ancient machines continued to stir. Massive generators, long dormant, roared to life, drawing power from the planet's core. And then, with a sudden burst of energy, the contingency activated. A pulse of energy, invisible to the naked eye but powerful beyond comprehension, shot out from the planet's surface. It moved faster than the speed of light, enveloping the Tkar fleet in an instant. For a moment, nothing happened. The Tkar ships, still poised to strike, seemed unaffected. Then, one by one, their shields flickered and died. Mira watched in stunned silence as the massive warships began to shudder, their hulls buckling under the strain. The energy pulse wasn't just disabling their shields, it was tearing apart the very molecular structure of their ships. "Captain, look!" Voss shouted, pointing at the display. The Tkar fleet, once so invincible, was crumbling. Their ships were disintegrating, breaking apart as if they were made of sand. It was as if the energy pulse was dissolving them from the inside out. Mira let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. "We did it," she whispered. The Tkar fleet was in full retreat, what was left of it. Most of their ships had been completely destroyed, reduced to nothing but debris floating in the void. The few that remained were scrambling to escape the system, fleeing the wrath of a weapon they could not comprehend. We won," Voss said, his voice filled with disbelief. "We actually won." Mira didn't answer. Her eyes were still fixed on the display, her mind racing. They had won, yes, but something felt wrong. The energy pulse had been far more powerful than she had expected. It hadn't just destroyed the Tar fleet, it had nearly torn apart Horizon itself. The planet's surface was shaking violently, massive fissures opening up as the energy from the pulse destabilized the planet's core. "We need to get out of here," Mira said suddenly, her voice sharp. "Now." "But Captain, the Tkar—" "Forget the Tkar," Mira snapped. "That pulse wasn't just a weapon. It's tearing the planet apart. We don't have much time." Voss's eyes widened as he realized the truth. "All hands, evacuate immediately," he shouted into the comms. "This is not a drill. Get to the ships now." Mira and Voss raced through the corridors of Horizon, alarms blaring all around them as the station began to collapse. The ground shook beneath their feet, and debris rained down from the ceiling as the entire structure began to break apart. They reached the hangar bay just as the first of the escape ships were lifting off. Mira sprinted toward the nearest shuttle, her heart pounding in her chest. She had seen countless battles, survived more than her fair share of close calls. But this was different. The planet itself was dying, and if they didn't escape now, they would die with it. The evacuation was chaotic, but most of the crew managed to make it off-world before the final collapse. Mira watched from the cockpit of her shuttle as Horizon's surface fractured and exploded, the once stable planet now a swirling mass of debris and molten rock. The ancient weapon had saved them from the Tkar, but it had destroyed the planet in the process. "We made it," Voss said, his voice shaky as he sat beside her in the shuttle. Mira nodded, but there was no relief in her heart. "We survived," she said quietly. "But at what cost?" The shuttle soared away from the dying planet, joining the other escape ships as they fled into the void. Horizon was gone, and with it, humanity's last stronghold. "We'll find another place," Voss said, trying to sound hopeful. "There are still other colonies out there. We'll regroup, rebuild." Mira shook her head. "It's not just about rebuilding," she said. "The Tar will come back, and next time they'll bring reinforcements. And there are other empires out there watching, waiting. They've seen what we did here. They've seen the weapon." Voss frowned. "You think they'll come for us?" "I know they will," Mira said grimly. "We've shown them that humanity isn't weak. But we've also shown them that we have something they want. And they'll stop at nothing to take it from us." In the days that followed, word of humanity's victory spread across the galaxy. The Tar Dominion, once thought unstoppable, had been defeated by a species that most of the galaxy had considered insignificant. The destruction of Horizon had been witnessed by countless civilizations, all of them left in awe of the power that humanity had unleashed. But with that awe came fear. Mira knew that the galaxy would not remain silent for long. The weapon that had saved them was too powerful, too dangerous. Other empires would come, seeking to claim it for themselves, or to destroy it before it could be used again. "We've bought ourselves some time," Mira said as she stood on the bridge of her new command ship, the Horizon's Call, staring out at the stars. "But this war isn't over." Voss stood beside her, his expression grim. "So what do we do now?" Mira turned to face him, her eyes cold and determined. "We prepare," she said. "The galaxy thinks they've seen what we're capable of. But they have no idea. We'll be ready." As humanity's remnants scattered across the stars, hiding in forgotten colonies and remote outposts, Mira knew one thing for certain. The galaxy had underestimated them for too long. Humans had always been seen as fragile, as weak, as inferior to the ancient empires that ruled the stars. But they had survived. And survival, Mira knew, was the first step toward something much greater. "We'll show them," she whispered to herself, a fierce smile on her lips. "We'll show them why humanity avoids war." The Horizon's Call drifted silently through the void, its course set for the unknown regions of the galaxy. Somewhere out there, new allies awaited, new threats loomed. And humanity, battered but unbroken, would rise again, because that's what it meant to be human.